What if UFOs don't just watch from above, but take people?
It was almost like plasma. Everything in the room turned completely white, almost like an explosion.
Missing time.
Chris is looking at these orbs for what he thinks is 20 minutes. Turns out he was missing for about 4 hours.
Strange marks.
We were both stunned, wondering, how did this red X show up on the left cheek of your tush?
Telepathic warnings.
For the last couple of years, I've also been receiving telepathic communications from some external source.
They say it wasn't a dream, and they have proof.
It has a tiny mouth and huge eyes at the very, very bottom of its face, right above its mouth.
These alien abduction cases aren't just insane. They feel like a cover-up.
I attempt to explain what happened to me after I'd been abducted by aliens in Kathmandu in 1994.
Back at the legendary Disinfo 2000, Grant Morrison casually dropped something that didn't sound casual at all. He said during his 1994 abduction in Kathmandu, the aliens basically rewired how he saw reality. They talked about space and time like it was clay, bendable, stacked, alive.
Videos, basically silver morphing mercurial blobs of chrome that think. And they took me to the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is outside space and time, and they explained to me what time is all about. The universe we live in is designed to grow larvae, right? Believe it, don't you? I don't have to believe it, I'm just setting the story here.
He claimed they showed him that we're all fragments of the same larger being, mirroring what other abductees have hinted at for years. And the wildest part, he said we aren't really adults, just entities aging ourselves for the experience.
We all know we were 12, we all know we were 10 years old. Where is that? Point to it. Show me that you at 10 years old and yet you were there.
It wasn't sci-fi talk. It felt like a cosmic memo about who we really are. Honestly, once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
We used time to grow larvae because outside space and time you can't grow anything because it's timeless.
Peter Khoury. People think abductions follow the same script, but Peter Khoury's story didn't. In 1988, he heard military march sounds echoing outside. When his brother went outside to check, there was no one there. Then things took a shocking turn. He slipped into a strange state.
I was lying in bed, and all of a sudden I got this weird feeling where I couldn't move my body. I became paralyzed, and I've never had that before. I couldn't move my body, I couldn't try to speak, I couldn't do anything. It was like I was paralyzed. And I'm lying there, as I'm lying there, I'm looking up at behind me, like at my window, top of my window, and I could see very tall, dark figure standing there, holding the bar. I had security bars on the door, and it was holding the security bars, and it was looking over me. And when I'm looking back, I could just see sort of half its head looking down towards me, but I couldn't see everything.
Days later, something horrifying happened in his bed.
I felt something grab me around my ankles, and to me, it felt like it could have been the index finger and the thumb, that area of the hand, and it could have been a device. I'm not 100% sure, but something grabbed me, and as soon as it grabbed me, and I had my legs crossed over, so it grabbed my right foot around it like that. Instantly, I got a hot chill go through my body, and pins and needles, and I just started becoming paralyzed. I could feel it as it rose through. It was rapid, it was pretty quick. It just came up through my body, and I could feel it. And as soon as it got to the top of my head, it felt, at the time I described it like having a million ants crawling through your scalp, but it was like static electricity. There was something happening, and I became completely paralyzed. I couldn't move my hands, couldn't move anything. Luckily for me, the only thing I could move were my eyes, which were open. And I think if my eyes were closed, I may not have been able to open them. I wouldn't have seen anything. So my eyes are open, and I'm freaking out, thinking, what's going on? And as I'm lying there, at the foot of the bed, I see a hooded figure, about 4.5, 4.5 feet tall, not very tall actually, and covered, wearing a robe, like a monk's robe with the hood over their head, which made their head look a lot bigger. But this was a robust looking thing. It was powerful, it was strong, it was gorilla-like.
He claimed they performed a procedure and told him something chilling.
It's a knowing. He's saying to me, calm down, relax, we're not going to harm you. It'll be like the last time, calm down, relax. Instantly me thinking, what last time. Like, what are you talking about? Calm down, we're not going to harm you. And as he's saying that to me, I see him lean over, and he had what looked like a needle of type, a syringe, and on the tip of it, it had like an optic fiber, flexible, thin needle that had a light right at the tip of it. It had a light. And as he brought it to my head, he's still telling me, calm down, relax, we're not going to harm you. I feel something, I can actually feel something pressure on my head, and then I feel something go in, and I black out.
When Peter woke up, hours of his life were gone. His family had been completely switched off.
It had 3 prong marks, like there was 3 distinct prong marks, and you can see it in the photo. Instantly I thought, nah, this is from what happened last night. I knew straight away.
And then he claimed a group of people chased him, oddly official looking. Maybe the government, trying to quiet him? What's more, it didn't stop. The strange beings kept returning. Perhaps once they find you, they never leave. If they're not just watching us, but studying us, make sure you're subscribed before the next case drops. Leah Haley. You think you understand reality, but maybe not. After her encounters, Leah Haley was dismissed by the military. Officially, it was routine. Unofficially, she knew too much. We later found out what these alien beings were up to, because she could see inside their craft. Even after she came back, contact didn't end.
For the last couple of years, I've also been receiving telepathic communications from some external source. I don't know where the telepathic messages are coming from.
It all began in May 1991. The message she received shocked even scientists tied to NASA.
The message I received was that time is no more linear than the Earth is flat. That time can overlap, that time can be contracted, expanded, that there's more than one dimension that can overlap. And actually, time in the way that we use it is non-existent. I was told that it's really space that's important, not time. I was told that all kinds of geological problems are going to occur all over the world, things such as earthquakes, tornadoes, floods.
She described disasters before they happened, earthquakes, chaos, and during her experiences, officials in military uniforms appeared. That old debate about government involvement, she basically confirmed it. Authorities know. They just don't talk.
I was shown a vision in my mind of everything on Earth being brown.
Lunar shadow. In December 1992, 8 members of the Houston UFO network separately reported being taken. One of the strangest mass abductions ever. Daryl Sims, a former U.S. intelligence operative, led the early investigation.
And to my shock and amazement, they all came back with the exact same story, the same craft, the same entities. They identified each other in great detail. Some of them didn't even know each other very well. All of these people described being taken by a small craft and a small entity, and the entity took them to a much larger craft.
At the same time, someone in Japan filmed the moon and caught a massive craft casting a shadow as it crossed its surface. The timing matched.
One in Japan had filmed the moon during this time and filmed a massive craft that left a shadow across the moon as it crossed the moon's surface.
One abductee claimed to see a map on board showing aliens had worked on humans for 6,000 years, and the plan was nearly finished.
Enormous size. I said, "What did you see?" He said, "It looked like a collection, almost like a museum of things that have been collected." They seem to have collected species, animals, people, all kinds of things. And I said, "And what was significant about that?" And he said, "I don't think they were dead. I think they were all suspended animation." This may explain the reason why some people disappear and don't come back from an abduction event.
If all this is true, maybe mass disappearances aren't myths. But why would aliens abduct humans and other species? One theory has it that samples are being collected, not randomly, but to preserve the human seed before some ecological catastrophe wipes us out. Kelly Knight. What reportedly happened at that tiny farm in Kelly back in 1955 still stands as one of the most documented UFO encounters ever. But for the Sutton family, it wasn't legend, it was terrifying. Geraldine Stith later described the night her father, his wife, and a friend were visiting her grandmother's tobacco farm.
This happened on my grandmother's small farm. She owned about 27 acres. It was just a regular Sunday evening, and it just so happened my dad, his first wife, and their friends, Billy Ray and June Taylor, came in for the weekend. They sat down to eat, and Billy Ray decides to go out to the well to get some water. So he's out there in the well, which is in the front yard. As he's standing there, he hears something, looks up toward where he hears this sound, and there's this silver, oval-shaped object with what he calls the colors of the rainbow flowing behind it. And he says it was only like 30 to 40 foot above him.
Billy Ray suddenly ran back to the house, panicked, begging her dad to come outside. What they saw in the yard wasn't human.
Behind the house comes this little 3.5 foot tall figure, big round head, arms down to the ground with very long talons. They were gray, but they glowed a luminescent glow, a greenish glow, and it's floating above the ground. The legs aren't moving. They were scared to death. So they both ran into the house, slammed the door, and they're trying to explain what they just saw.
Her grandmother stepped out to check for herself.
All of a sudden, she screams. Everybody hears. They come out there. She tells them, says, I saw it. There is something out here. About that time, they hear a shot ring out in the front of the house.
That's when all hell broke loose.
And sure enough, in the big maple tree, there's set one on the limb. Shoots it. It floats to the ground, rolls, scurries off into the brush.
And they fled to the nearest police station.
They were trapped in this house, and they didn't know what to do. The only thing we can do is try to get to Hopkinsville, which was 7 miles from their house, and get to the police and see if we can get help. Let's go.
Officers found shell casings, but no small green beings. The question of why they came remains unanswered. And these sketches still haunt our collective curiosity. Alien implant. If you're still on the fence about all this, Whitley Strieber's story might just tip the scales. Back in 1985, the best-selling author woke up to a nightmare made real. He found himself in a small, round room, surrounded by strange blue figures. The experience was traumatic.
I felt there was something around me. In other words, there was movement that shouldn't have been there. And I opened my eyes, and I saw these big black eyes staring at me.
But the real mystery didn't begin until May 1989. One morning, Strieber woke up feeling a strange pressure on his head.
Hand pressing down on my left temple, pressing it into the pillow in like waves, like this.
A mysterious bump had appeared on his ear, one he was convinced was an implant. Attempts to remove it failed. The implant seemed to move on its own, avoiding extraction. And since then, Strieber claims he's had regular contact with these beings, even wilder.
I don't think I would be comfortable working without knowing that there was, using the implant, that there was a connection.
He says the implant enhanced his mind, making research and information flow to him effortlessly. So, was he chosen, monitored, enhanced? I'll let you decide. Ring visitor. A woman named Tammy might have captured something she was never meant to see, and her Ring camera caught it all. She pulled into her driveway late one night and noticed something crawling in the lawn across the street. A strange light was attached to it, glowing in the dark like it was searching. The creature moved low and deliberate. She even claimed when she said hello, it said it back. That part gave people chills. Online, everyone split into camps. Some swore it was an alien encounter. Others argued it had to be a robot. Maybe even some kind of probe using a ground form. Whatever it was, it didn't look normal. Red discs. This strange event unfolded over a small town in Russia, and people instantly panicked. Phones came out fast. In the sky, glowing red discs blinked in steady rhythms, almost coordinated. They didn't drift like lanterns or streak like planes. They hovered. Then something smaller, orb-like, descended toward the quiet town below.
What is that? Look at how it moves.
It moved slowly near the ground, flashing as if scanning rooftops and streets. Residents watched from windows, unsure if they were witnessing a military test or something not from here at all. The footage spread quickly, but explanations didn't. To this day, no one has clearly said what those red lights were. Blue flash. In March 2017, something unexplained reportedly happened inside a quiet suburban home just outside Houston. Erica Garner was alone. Her husband was away on business. She had just gone back inside to give water to her dogs when, freeze it right there. Because if you blink, you miss it. A streak of blue light shot across her kitchen.
That's weird. It was almost like plasma. Everything in the room turned completely white. Almost like an explosion, and my eyes started burning.
It lasted a second on camera, but she swore it felt longer. That night, her dreams turned vivid, pink and purple galaxies, like drifting through space. She later researched blue light phenomena, wondering if it was extraterrestrial. Could the dream have been a coincidence, or was it connected to the blue flash? Travis Walton. Travis Walton didn't expect his shift to end with a one-way ticket to the unknown. It was just another night in 1975, driving home with his lumberjack crew through the Arizona woods, when they saw a blinding light. Walton, curious or maybe reckless, jumped out to investigate. And there it was, a UFO hovering. Then, boom, a blast of energy knocked him off his feet. Before his crew could react, he was gone, vanished. The police combed the area. Nothing. 5 days later, Walton stumbled back into town. He was dazed, shaken, talking about huge-eyed beings staring at him. They didn't speak, just looked through him somehow. When he came to, the ship was already disappearing into the sky. Some believe him. Others call it a hoax, a hallucination. But one thing's for sure. It's one of the strangest stories in UFO history. Alien evidence. Alien encounters are creepy enough, but when they leave physical proof behind, that's when things get really unsettling. Back in 2017, a woman named Sev Tok had just moved to Arapahoe, North Carolina. She was unpacking with her boyfriend when she suddenly felt what she thought was a bug bite. But this was no ordinary bite. 9 dots, arranged in a perfect X. And strangely, it didn't itch. Not like a normal bite at all. Then, things got even weirder. A few days later, Sev had a flashback, lying face down on a stretcher with a gray figure standing over her. And another mark appeared, perfectly mirroring the first one. So what was going on here? Was she being targeted? Or is there a more rational explanation? Let me know your take on this. Brazil glow. Recently, in a small town in Brazil, locals noticed something rising in the distance. A massive, glowing object lifted slowly into the sky. It didn't blink like an aircraft. It didn't move like a drone. It just ascended, steady and silent. If that happened here, people might assume it was something from NASA, or maybe Starlink satellites. But there were no launches, no announcements, no official explanations tied to that region. The object kept climbing until it faded into darkness. Authorities stayed quiet. Residents were left with speculation. Some believed it was just a visitor, stopping by briefly before slipping back into the sky. Forest emergence. This might have been one of the strangest clips ever pulled from a trail camera. Deep in the woods, a floating object shaped almost like a saucer hovered silently above the ground. Then tiny human-like figures began emerging from it. They looked translucent, almost shimmering, and moved cautiously across the forest floor, like explorers stepping onto unknown terrain. The footage didn't resemble drones or known wildlife tricks. Observers debated whether it showed a new alien species choosing an unfamiliar form, or something even stranger, like life hidden in plain sight. The universe is massive. Maybe we only see what we're ready to see. Vanishing rider. This next clip stirred up serious debate online. A motorcycle rider filmed it during a casual afternoon ride. Everything looked normal. Until it didn't. Re-watch it carefully. His friend, riding just ahead, suddenly vanished from view. Seconds later, the bike rolled back into frame, but the rider was gone. Just empty space where he was supposed to be. Theories exploded. Some claimed alien abduction mid-ride, the bike somehow continuing without him. Others argued it was a glitch, maybe even that he slipped out of reality into something like the back rooms. Beam return. You know how abductees always describe a beam of light? A flash, then blackout? Well, footage surfaced that looked exactly like that. Two friends were walking across a field when the one on the right suddenly vanished. Just gone. A faint beam seemed to flash over him for a split second. The other guy panicked and bolted, probably thinking the worst. Then, after a short while, another flash hit the same spot, and the missing friend reappeared, standing there, confused, looking around like he'd missed time. Some joked aliens grabbed the wrong guy and tossed him back. But what if he really was taken and his memory wiped? Silent silhouette. A Ring camera in Texas captured something unsettling. The house across the street suddenly lit up with blinding brightness. In the glare, you could almost make out a massive shadow, like a craft hovering above. When the clip spread online, people immediately shouted alien abduction. The strangest part? The homeowner claimed he checked on the neighbors afterward. Their car was parked outside, but no one answered the door. It was like they vanished mid-evening. No official explanation followed, just speculation stacking up online. Was it strange lighting, or did something actually descend that night and leave just as quietly? Rail creature.
I'm coming that way today.
That's fine.
This woman and her family described one of the strangest encounters I've heard. The way her husband explained the being felt oddly genuine, not dramatic. He even filmed something. In the dark beyond their porch railing stood a pale, grayish figure. It was hard to see clearly, but its color made it stand out against the shadows. It didn't move much, just stood there, watching. Skeptics argued it could have been lighting tricks or someone trespassing, but the couple insisted it wasn't human. So, was it truly an alien presence, or a misidentified shape caught at the perfect, eerie angle?
It has a tiny mouth and huge eyes at the very, very bottom of its face, right above its mouth.
Persistent visitors. Jane Nelm said her encounters began in 1973 when a brilliant white light appeared at her bedroom window.
As I pulled the drape aside, all of a sudden there were 5 beings, this tall, all around me.
She later sketched 5 beings she claimed rushed in and took her.
I was trying to grab the railings to stop myself from being taken. They had total control.
According to her, they carried her to a craft outside, and one even spoke.
He said in a very monotoned voice, "Jane, it is your time to come." And I said, "I am not going anywhere."
She stayed silent for years until meeting others near Dallas who shared similar stories. After moving to Carrollton, she believed the beings followed her and even abducted a neighbor after a frantic call.
3 different types of beings came down the hallway. The fans started reversing, lights were flashing. There were these little balls of light just flying around everywhere.
She claimed they did it for research and didn't mean harm. Nelms even photographed evidence and still built a prosperous life in Texas despite the visits. Night lasers.
See that?
What?
A resident of Montreal described what felt like the start of an invasion. Late at night, a loud blast echoed through the neighborhood, forcing people out of their homes and onto the streets. Then it happened. Flashes ripped across the sky. Continuous laser-like beams stretched overhead for several minutes, paired with a low humming sound that didn't feel mechanical. It felt alive. Authorities arrived quickly, cleared the area, and then silence. No detailed explanation followed, just rumors. Some said military testing, others weren't convinced. Because if that light wasn't a weapon, then what was it? A scanning device? A way to quietly take someone without chaos?
Is that fireworks?
Alpine echo. A new sighting surfaced in Haute-Savoie near the Alps, and it looked way too familiar. The object hovering in the rural night sky matched the same glowing light filmed earlier in Texas, the one skeptics dismissed as a streetlight. Except here, there were no streetlights, no city glare, just open countryside and darkness. The light hung there, steady and suspended, not drifting like a drone. People started connecting dots fast. What if it wasn't random? What if it moved locations? After Texas, now France. Successful abduction, then relocation? Or are we just watching the same pattern unfold again somewhere quieter? Parker and Hickson.
The alien story is just small. I want people to know that I love my family.
If Calvin Parker's name doesn't ring a bell, you're missing out on one of the wildest alien abduction cases in history. Even in 2023, 50 years after the event, he never wavered. Back in 1973, Parker and his fishing buddy Charles Hickson were casting their lines by the Pascagoula River when a piercing sound interrupted them. Looking up, they spotted a massive UFO, and things only got weirder from there. Out stepped three bulky creatures, moving with eerie precision. Before they could react, the men were hauled aboard the craft and subjected to some kind of examination. And just as suddenly, they were dropped back off. The UFO vanishing into the night. Now here's the thing. Parker never changed his story. For half a century, he stuck to every chilling detail. And really, what did he have to gain by lying?
And looked behind to see what it was, and it was three bulky-looking creatures.
Light show.
Oh no, look at this. Look at this.
I'm starting to wonder if aliens have some grand plan hidden away in the mountains. Here's another UFO sighting, recorded high up in the peaks, doing something truly bizarre. It looked like a glowing orb throwing beams all over the place. But what could it possibly be? Abducting people? Striking something down with its lasers? Or perhaps something we can't even comprehend yet. The video quickly went viral, with people wanting to know what the object was up to. Experts were also consulted, but so far there has been no official explanation for this activity.
What the? This is on land, man.
Flickering descent. A shocking sight was caught on camera that left witnesses in disbelief. A brilliant light illuminated the sky, glowing so intensely it seemed to overpower the night. From its base, a beam of light streamed downward toward Earth, flickering as if pulsing, sometimes dimming, then bursting into blinding brilliance again. The object moved slowly, almost deliberately, as if focused on something below. Many immediately connected it to alien abduction theories, but others speculated differently. Some suggested this could explain the sudden appearance of crop circles, laser-like beams tracing mysterious patterns. The true purpose remained a mystery. Silent signal. In June 2025, a Russian man filmed a bizarre sight that quickly spread online. A glowing orb hovered motionless in the sky, its center radiating an eerie blue light. From beneath it, a sharp beam of light streamed downward, cutting through the night air. The scene looked too deliberate to be mistaken for anything ordinary. Speculation took off immediately. Some believed the UFO was sending a signal, reporting back to alien headquarters somewhere beyond Earth. Others offered a more unsettling theory, convinced it was abducting humans for experimentation. Whatever the truth, the strange orb left witnesses questioning what they had really seen. Blatant abduction. Still not convinced that aliens might be behind all the strange disappearances happening around the world? Well, this clip will get you thinking for sure. A classic saucer-shaped UFO was seen hanging low over a remote area. As the camera zoomed in, a figure appeared, standing right beneath the craft. Suddenly, a bright light flashed from the UFO, and just like that, the person was gone. Taken before the craft shot up into the sky and vanished. We all know what we just saw, but the question remains, who was that person? Some believe that it was a human being that got kidnapped. Others speculated might have been one of their own kind. White beam. This strange event went down in Russia, where a guy captured something seriously bizarre while hanging out on his apartment roof on December 10th. In the distance, a crazy, bright beam of light shot down from the sky, making everyone stop and stare. Once the video hit the internet, people couldn't help but jump to wild conclusions. Some were convinced it had to be an alien UFO, suggesting the beam could be part of an abduction, or worse, some kind of attack. Others weren't so sure, and thought it could just be a weird atmospheric thing. But really, if this is aliens, have they come for us already? A little early for that, right? Beaming saucer. A mysterious moment was recorded by a pilot while flying high above California. Just above the clouds, a bright saucer-shaped light appeared, illuminating the far side of the sky. The shocking part was that it looked as if it were sending a straight beam of light downward, disappearing into the clouds below. The craft didn't move from its place, hovering as if fixed in the sky. Some skeptics claimed it was nothing more than a sunset illusion, but others weren't convinced. They argued the shape was far too precise, and the beam too deliberate. Many believe this was a UFO actively abducting someone from Earth, its movements concealed within the clouds. Kelly Cahill. Kelly Cahill is an Australian woman who claims she experienced a UFO abduction in August 1993 while driving with her husband near Dandenong in Victoria, Australia. According to Cahill, they encountered a large, glowing craft hovering above the road, after which they lost time and later noticed missing memories.
My husband and I were driving up to my girlfriend's place in Monbulk, which is in the Dandenong Mountains. We were driving on Belgrave Hallam Road, and it was just on dusk. I saw what I thought was round orange lights in the field. It looked unusual to me. In front of us, about twice the height of the treetops, we could see this object, which at first I thought was a blimp. It had the shape of a blimp, but it was light. As we got closer to it, the light seemed to sort of separate, and it was actually these a row of round lights, and they were orange. It appeared like there was silhouettes standing in these round orange circles, like people, but you could only see the black outline. Well, I just said to my husband, look, there's people in there. And the minute I said that, it shot off to the left of us. Within 1 or 2 seconds, it was gone completely.
Cahill says she later recalled the moments when she made a stop to check it out, along with her husband, with other witnesses as well, noticing the UFO that looked like it had landed with the extraterrestrials that closed in on her.
We walked up along here to where the fence is. Right out in front of us is this huge craft. We stood here, I guess side by side, my husband and I, for about 30 to 45 seconds. Then this tall, dark being just appeared in front of the craft, and he was followed by about another 7 or 8 that appeared straight behind him.
Her story became even more credible as the other witnesses on the scene described the spacecraft as being almost identical. She also reported physical marks on her body and long-term psychological effects. Her account attracted significant attention in Australia due to multiple alleged witnesses who reported seeing unusual lights in the area. UFO Summoner. Tighten your seatbelts because this one is for the books. Chris Bledsoe was on a fishing trip near the Cape Fear River in North Carolina in 2007 when he wandered off alone and spotted 2 glowing red orbs in the sky.
Chris sees a bright red ball, what looks like the sun.
He thought he watched them for 20 minutes, but he was actually missing for 4 hours. Classic missing time UFO weirdness. Even stranger, he had suffered from Crohn's disease for years, but after this encounter, he was suddenly cured. That wasn't all, he kept seeing these orbs and even claimed he could summon them. In 2012, things got even wilder. Chris saw a glowing lady step out of a portal, telling him he had a mission to share his story. He now believes he's part of something bigger, connecting UFOs with divine revelations. Beam of light. When you see a beam like this cutting through the sky, abduction might just be the first thought to come to mind. This strange sighting was reported in the skies over Australia. A mysterious object fired a bright ray of light onto a mountaintop, flickering in and out of view. Even more bizarre, the sky around the beam glowed orange right after each flash. As soon as this clip went viral, theories took off. Some thought it was a clear case of alien abduction. Others suggested it was a clash between humans and extraterrestrials. Skeptics, however, waved off the ideas as mere natural phenomena. What do you make of this mysterious beam? Linda Porter. Back in 1963, before alien abductions became mainstream, a chilling case emerged. Linda Porter, just 17 at the time, went to bed in her quiet Covina, California home, only to wake up somewhere impossible, inside a strange craft. Years later, under hypnosis, she recalled seeing a small, gray-like creature, but that wasn't the scariest part. Moments later, she came face to face with a towering insectoid being, something straight out of a nightmare, bipedal, praying mantis-like, watching her. And this? It was only the beginning. Linda claimed to have multiple encounters throughout her life. Some theorists believe the mantis aliens are like a hive species, with a mantis being a kind of queen bee. Let's just hope they're not scouting for more recruits. Road abduction.
This thing turning. What the f*** is going on?
A man claimed he'd been taken by an alien craft while driving on a deserted road, and he backed it up with footage many called some of the best UFO evidence ever recorded. His video showed 3 glowing orbs suspended in the night sky, arranged in a perfect triangle. He stopped the car and began filming as the formation slowly rotated. Near the end of the clip, he panicked, dropping the camera, and only his frantic voice was heard before everything cut out. No one knew what happened next. He later said he was all right and insisted he'd been abducted, though he never shared the full story. David Huggins. David Huggins didn't just claim that aliens existed, or that he'd seen one once. He said he'd had an ongoing relationship with one for most of his life. According to him, his first encounter happened when he was a young boy. Over the decades that followed, he believed he fathered dozens of hybrid children, with a female extraterrestrial named Crescent. Huggins documented everything through paintings. His home was filled with hundreds of pieces depicting his experiences, Crescent visiting him, his strange hybrid children, and encounters with small gray beings. His artwork attracted enough attention that a documentary, Love and Saucers, was made about his life. What stood out was how matter-of-fact he was. He described these events the way others described past relationships. Voronezh incident. In a public park, a group of children and bystanders witnessed something they would never forget. A spacecraft reportedly landed, and 3 giant humanoid figures emerged. The strange beings were described as much taller than humans, with large heads, no ears or hair, and glowing, reflective bodies. Makarov, one of the schoolboys present, recalled the fear among the crowd. Another witness, Denis Marenko, said he saw unusual traces left behind and a strange man who suddenly disappeared. The craft reportedly hovered for several minutes before rising and vanishing from sight. While skeptics dismissed the event as mass hysteria, the consistency of the children's accounts made it one of Russia's most well-documented UFO encounters. Metal visitor. The case of Ronnie Hill had remained one of the most debated UFO encounters from the 1967 wave. On July 21st of that year, in Oriental, North Carolina, 14-year-old Ronnie claimed he'd seen a bright white object descend near his home. He described it as the size of a full moon, buzzing faintly, smelling like burning metal. He rushed inside, grabbed his camera, and managed to snap one photo before the craft disappeared. When he developed the film, he said he found a small metallic figure standing beside a circular object. Ronnie described it as 3.5 to 4 feet tall, with a shiny suit and a dark, reflective face. Many still believe this to be one of the most genuine alien encounters. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.